Hello. Finally, if it looked like I took that thumbnail 10 minutes ago, it's because supposedly Mercury went direct a few hours ago, but I can't tell. But I typically have the most issues with Mercury retrograde, the most typical Mercury retrograde issues, like in the post shadow, like after Mercury's been direct. But anyway, hi. So, excuse me. As you can see, it is an OJL today. OJL stands for Oracle Juice Life, which means that I consume some kind of alcoholic beverage and I do whatever I do. And it's not a part of the whatever, but it's, fair warning for folks who don't get down with it. I'm letting you know so you can make the empowered choice and decision to click off or continue watching. Informed. You can make the informed choice, empowered, informed, whatever. So, excuse me. Sorry, I know. I'm like only a few sips in. I haven't had my afternoon nap anyway. Okay, so today I have about an hour and I wanted to. I don't know what I'm going to do. I had an idea, I didn't have an idea. I opened up Time Nomad because I think my 12th house is going to be packed for a while. It starts in Pisces, it ends in Taurus. So Neptune is making this huge shift, has made this huge shift. Saturn has shifted, whatever. And it's like, well, it's still in my 12th house. So, Neptune is going to be in my 12th house for literally decades. What, a third of my life? Or half of it? I don't even know. Anyway, that's when I saw that um, the moon is exactly trine the sun right now, 17 degrees and some change. But also, excuse me, I saw 25, 25, 26, 27 Pisces, and Mercury wasn't in retrograde. I was like, what? So I guess I'm in direct today. But anyway, what I'm going to do today is I was going to shuffle the deck, excuse me, get 3 cards from the bottom, and then the 8 of Cups and the 7 of Cups. Interesting. 3 cards from the bottom, and then do the major, minor, major, minor court like I did for the High Priestess. But I saw the Ace of Pentacles, 10 of Swords, and the 8 of Cups. Whoa. I saw the Ace of Pentacles recently. Excuse me. And someone mentioned the Ace of Swords, and then for some reason, like I wasn't looking at the cards, but I don't have to because I've looked at cards enough. And I was just wondering, I was like, I feel like the Ace of Cups is the only ace that is not being like handed over. Ace of Pentacles, it's a pentacle and a hand coming out of a cloud. Ace of Swords is the same. Ace of Wands is the same, but the Ace of Cups is the cup that's just like overflowing. And I was like, whoa, that's like interesting. Temperance and the Emperor, but the Emperor is on its side. What? The tipsy Emperor, no. Oh, this whole part of the deck is on its side. Okay. Oh, Dreamland is at the top of the Emperor. I will excuse me. Ooh. I was thinking about temperance earlier because of the whole like Libra being justice thing. Because I feel that Libra is more temperance than justice. Because with Libra, I would consider it more like equilibrium or something related to like a status quo than actual justice. And then I was like, Libra is ruled by Venus. Does anyone expect for Venus to like be impartial or fair or anything when it comes to justice? And then I was like, that makes sense. If Venus was justice, she would always rule in her own favor, or like the prettiest one, the most aesthetically pleasing. And I was like, oh my gosh, it makes so much sense. Anyway, who is that? The 10 of Pentacles, the 9 of Cups. Wow, 10 of Pennies, 6 of Pennies. And the Nine of Cups at the bottom of the deck. 16 Pentacles. The Tower of Pentacles with the Hermit of Cups. So yes, what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull before and after all the aces and the Magician. Oh, look, then there's the Tower at the cut with the Nine of Cups. That's hilarious. Um, yeah, anyway. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna pull before and after the aces and now, obviously, not obviously, but with the air being the mind, earth being the body, fire being the soul or the spirit, and then water, with those three being the tria prima, and then water being sort of like left on its own, or water symbolizing the love or the lifeblood that like animates the universe that connects us all or whatever, you know. I was like, oh, okay, that's why like even in the iconography water. Oh, look, Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. See? Kirsty! Hello, how are you? I got hot cross buns for the first time yesterday, expecting something like a hamburger bun. And it is not that. My friend was like, why are there raisins in it? I'm like, raisins? What are you talking about? So I can no longer say I've never had hot cross buns. Ooh, the sun. The sun and the devil. With the wheel of fortune at the bottom of the deck. That's so interesting. I feel like the sun, the devil, and the wheel of fortune, it's like something being like unveiled. You know what I mean? And it's almost this energy of like it's not who you thought it was or what you thought it was or who you would think it is. Justice and the Ten of Pentacles is behind the Wheel of Fortune. Interesting. Interesting. There's almost the vibe today, the feeling today is it's not, hey, how you doing? It's not that we give the devil too much credit, but it's almost this like these are people chained to their own vices. And it's because they're chained to their vices. It's because like there are things that people do. There are choices and decisions that people make. Influenced or not, at the end of the day, those choices and decisions are still made by people. So it's almost like the devil has no role in this besides whatever the devil does. But the devil doesn't make our choices and decisions, doesn't do whatever, right? It's like at most, devil energy will present an argument or a compelling case. But we are that judge. We play justice in our own lives, right? And so we make the verdict and the ruling. We make a choice decision. And that's what causes the wheel to spin in whatever way on our part or for us, right? It's almost like it's almost like everyone has their own wheel and their choices and decisions influence their wheel. WHEEL and not WILL, but And so if someone else makes a choice or decision that affects, impacts us or whatever, that's on their wheel. Their choice and decision doesn't impact our wheel, WHEEL, unless it has some kind of effect on spicy. Sorry. Well, I guess I haven't had them by themselves, right? I put like some chicken tenders on it and I like loaded it up with sauces. And then today I put like eggs and like sauce on it. So I haven't had them by themselves. But there's one left, and I'm just like, oh, the fruit. I'm not. I don't know. Fruit and pastries, fruit and bread, fruit and cakes. I'm not a huge fan of. Oh, spiced. Gotcha, gotcha. That makes sense. That makes sense. I had mulled wine months ago. I was like, oh, okay. My friend was like, it's like this wintry holiday drink, and it's amazing. It was for what it was pretty good. I'm just not a huge like spiced fruit person, you know. I don't think so. I feel like cinnamon is kind of like the border, but like on the line. But most like pumpkin spice, any other kind of anyway, it's fine. Interesting. Okay. So all these cards now that ooh, excuse me, I'm putting the cards back, and the devil goes right on top of the Eight of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles. And look, there's the Ace of Swords, which again, hand in the cloud. Um, this is like habits and patterns and a lack of vision that causes us to do whatever. It's not, I don't know, it's feeling like it's not devil energy. The Nine of Cups is there again for the sun with the Tower and Temperance behind that Nine of Cups. And maybe that's an era of like blaming, not an era, maybe it can be a habit of blaming situations, circumstances, external forces, whatever, us disempowering ourselves after we make choices and decisions to try to mitigate or cancel consequence in an attempt to change circumstance, to sway a judge or jury in the court of law with that justice energy. But it's like at the end of the day, we do what we do, and our actions, choices, and decisions have consequences. The Hermit, Strength, the Knight of Cups, the Lover, the Sun. Cool. All right. So, and the Six of Swords at the cut. Anyway, I think that could also be like on the like in the same token, but on a different branch of that energy. If we make certain choices and decisions despite our environment or despite habits, patterns, and a lack of general awareness of what's happening, or with a limited awareness of what's happening for whatever reason, in the same way that our choices and decisions will be honored when it comes to that sun energy that was on top of the Knight of Cups. It's like because you diligently did whatever, regardless of how things looked, when justice is meted out or metered out or whatever, um, you'll find yourself in like a quote unquote favorable Ace of Pentacles with the Six of Swords in a favorable position. Because again, your actions, your choices, and decisions have consequences. Consequences aren't negative. Consequences like the effect to an action or a cause, right? You're not positive ones. It's just like not, I don't know. Or it could be like a disillusionment. I guess Neptune has gone into Aries. It's not in Pisces anymore. Now Saturn's there before it moves into Aries. The Four of Pentacles in reverse and the Emperor in reverse with the Moon and the Queen of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Interesting. Under the Moon is the Queen of Swords and the Three of Cups. Cool. I'm going to give it one more shuffle because I have roughly 35 minutes. And I'm just interested. I'm intrigued. I'm curious. All right, one more, and I'll cut it. And I'm going to pull them actually off the top. Why not? First card off the top is the Two of Swords, which is my Minor High Priestess card. And the hierarchy of high priestesses, the minor high priestess, it's something that like requires our intuition discernment for us to accurately get, understand, perceive. But it's not something that's so far outside of our realm of understanding that it's like we are like throwing darts at a board blindly, hoping to get it right. Right. Almost picked up the whole deck. Ten of Swords and the Four of Swords. Interesting. This is a lot of swords. Now we have the Tower of Swords between three cards, where we had the Tower of Pentacles between two. Two of Swords, Ten of Swords, Four of Swords. But this Tower of Swords, I guess you could say, is comprised of the High Priestess, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Emperor. Yeah, the High Priestess, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Emperor. It's a change that somebody foresaw, right? When it comes to the Wheel of Fortune, usually it's like, how is the wheel going to spin? Nobody knows. The High Priestess would know. And the Emperor would be able to make an educated guess between his actions and the wisdom that is seated on his council, and how in touch, in tune, and aware of the world that he is. The Emperor can make an educated guess as to how the wheel will turn. Cool. This is such an interesting energy because this is going to be around the magician. The sun, the tower, the page of cups. That tower is, it's not too far from 16. It's like as soon as you hit 16 in a suit, in an element, boom, the tower. But this time the sun. See, because the sun is here with this tower, there's all, even with the Two of Swords, with that High Priestess as a part of this tower energy, it's reading like exactly what the High Priestess saw, foresaw, predicted would happen happened. With that Emperor energy there, she could have a plan, or there could be something in place to. It's almost giving me. Nothing comes to mind specifically, but it's like if there's a movie or some kind of media, and there's a prediction or a prophecy of some kind of doomsday. If someone gets a warning, actually there is something. It's a K drama that I saw on Netflix. Anyway, there's a prophecy, there's a prophetess, there is someone with the ability of foresight, and there is some kind of disaster that is impending. It's like as things unfold, most characters don't know about the prophecy, or even if they do, excuse me, I'm gonna go close that. I'll be right back. Yeah, 1 second. I thought my ears are starting to pop. All right. Yeah, it would be live earlier. That was so weird. Okay. I am back. I am back. So there's a prophecy, and they're trying to stop it, but you can't stop the prophecy because what is prophesied to happen will happen. The Emperor on the other side of the Wheel of Fortune, opposite the High Priestess. It's like there's a character who sets things in motion in some way, or there's a character who becomes the hero. And the disaster that is prophesied to happen happens, but that character comes in and like averts it somehow. It's given like that kind of energy, right? It's like it doesn't stop doomsday, Doomsday, like, let's say that the doomsday here is some kind of flood, right? There is a dam that will break and it will flood something and blah, 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 whatever. It's like the dam breaks, the waters are released, but there's a backup plan. It's like the water is diverted across multiple paths so that no one area is flooded. It's more equally distributed, right? It's that kind of energy. Like the tower still falls. You don't stop the tower, but you have a plan in place, almost like a contingency. Oh, cool. So next is, so it was the Sun, the Tower, the Page of Cups was the next card. Now we have our Magician and the Six of Cups. So the Magician is in between the Page of Cups and the Six of Cups, which is 7 Cups, which is the Chariot. I wanted to say, I wanted to say the Lovers, but I knew it wasn't the Lovers. All right, we're gonna keep going. The World, the Five of Swords, the King of Swords, Two of Wands, Six of Swords, Eight of Swords, Four of Wands, Three Wands, Two Pennies, Ace of Cups. Oh, in this deck, I stand corrected. That's why I wanted to look before and after the cards. The Ace of Cups is coming out of, there is a hand with this Ace of Cups. I was thinking of, I think it's the Witch's Tarot. I think I have a few decks actually where it's just like a fountain or like where it's like a fountain or a huge cup standing somewhere and there's no hand. The Two of Pentacles and the Nine of Wands around this Ace of Cups, Queen of Pentacles, 10 Wands, 6 Wands, 6 Pennies, 5 Wands, 4 Cups, Justice, Chariot, 8 Cups, 8 Wands, 8 Pennies, 888. Wheel of Fortune, 10 of Cups, the Devil, 9 of Cups, the Hermit, the Emperor, Knight of Cups, Strength, 2 of Cups, Judgment, 5 of Pennies, King of Pennies, 7 of Swords, Knight of Wands, Page of Pennies, the Star, the Hierophant, 3 of Cups, Queen of Swords, the Moon, 4 of Pennies, Hangman, Dreamland, Ace of Pennies. Ace of Pennies and the Lover. That's so interesting. This is some real, like, on earth as it is in heaven almost type energy. Between the Dreamland and the Lovers. Okay. Queen of Cups, King of Wands, Knight of Swords, 10 of Pennies, 9 Swords, 7 Wands, 7 Cups, Temperance, 7 Pennies, 3 Swords, King of Cups, the Fool, the Ace of Wands, and the Queen of Wands. So the Fool and the Queen of Wands with this Ace of Wands. Oh, the Nine of Wands is here. Interesting. And then last but not least, the Three of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, High Priestess, Death, Ace of Swords, and the Knight of Pentacles. Interesting. Death and the Knight of Pentacles. Flanking this Ace of Swords. There are 4 cards left. 5 of Cups, Page of Swords, the Empress, and the Page of Wands. If you're curious. 5 of Cups is the bottom of the deck. It's getting like so warm in here with that closed. This is not opening. So the Magician is between the Page of Cups and the Six of Cups. The order of elements It's water, earth, fire, air. Around the Ace of Cups is the Two of Pennies and Nine of Wands. Around the Ace of Pentacles, the Dreamland and the Lover. Around the Ace of Wands is the Fool and the Queen of Wands. Around that, the Ace of Swords is Death and the Knight of Pentacles. Death and the Knight of Pentacles is interesting because the Knight of Pentacles is the Knight of Earth. It's giving like life, verdancy. I guess the opposite side of death, right? Over here, we see the Fool, almost like with this wand, and all the rest of the tools, I guess, in the rucksack, backpack, and then you have this Queen of Wands. That song. Who is it? What's her name? It's given. It's giving. It's that I got a pocket full of sunshine. Natasha Bedingfield, is that her name? She's the same girl that does Release Your Inhibitions, right? The Dreamland is interesting because, like, you have this angel from the heavens come down on earth to approach these two, and then the Dreamland is given like this other reality, space, right? Not the tangible physical universe. And then the Ace of Cups is in between the Two of Pentacles and the Nine of Wands. The Two of Pentacles and the Nine of Wands is such an interesting energy because it's almost coping, I guess. The Two of Pentacles is this balancing of priorities, balancing of, because the Nine of Wands is here especially, it's feeling like it is keeping oneself like mentally stable and grounded. It's like it's not leaning too far one way or another, but it's starting to like wear on somebody. Like these two pentacles aren't very heavy, but if you hold them for long enough, they will start to become very heavy. And then the Page of Cups and the Six of Cups is here. I feel like something is there, but what I like about because so I pulled the cards at the bottom to give the magician some kind of context, right? We have the Tower of Swords, the Two of Swords, the Ten of Swords, and the Four of Swords, and then the Sun, the Tower, the Page of Cups, and the Magician came up. I pulled before and after the Magician and all four aces because it's not an energy of aversion because the Tower falls, but because there is some kind of plan in place. For the last ace to be Death and the Knight of Pentacles, Death came out recently. I think it was at the start of the last reading, right? And the Nine of Wands was, or the energy of the Nine of Wands was there at least, but it was like Death had found, yeah. There was like a long night, and someone had survived the long night. The sun was rising, and it's almost like Death had come to their door just as the sun was rising. And so, whatever didn't, whatever. But Death exchanged words with the person. It was like, it's because of your intuition and discernment, for one, because you followed it, for two, and because of all the other work that you've done, for three, that you have survived this long night, blah, 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 whatever. It is. Okay, thank you. On the, I feel like for me, it's like my strongest association with that song is Easy A. And I love that movie. Emma Stone, she's my girl because Olive. Oh, that's so funny. One of my friends, his last name, I don't know why it just like randomly popped into my mind, like yesterday or the day before yesterday. but his last name is an anagram of love. And I remembered that scene in Easy A where she's like, "Did you know that my name is an anagram of I love?" And the guy was like, "What?" And then I think she was like, "Google it, big boy," or something like that. I don't know. Anyway. What I like about the Ace of Swords being here is that, like, instead of this energy, it is the Knight of Pentacles. Love that. And the sun is coming up, right? The sun in the tower. The pale horse still rides, but someone finds themselves alive. And this is around the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is a logic, is a reasoning, is a thinking. So there are senses that now support the intuition. The Six of Cups is the Six of Essences, and we saw the Six of Essences in that same video. I feel like that was clarifying the Cancer, where it was like the Ace of Souls, the Six of Essences, the Two of Realms, which is the Two of Pentacles. So the Two of Pentacles is here too. So in that, and it's interesting because on here you'll see the Five of Souls. The Five of Souls came out before. So this is what I rolled just to get the program started. So it's not whatever. Right? That Five of Souls came up before, probably 2 or 3 videos ago. And it was an energy. Yeah, it was the one. I don't title any of these, or I haven't been titling these lately, so I don't know the date. But I think it was 2 videos ago, 2 or 3, and the High Priestess was there, and the attractor that was the black hole that turned into the sun. The Five of Souls was this like internal rearranging of elements because something new was happening or going on. And so the rest of the self almost had to realign. It was when names have meaning, someone's name was changing because they were coming into something new. Right. And then it wasn't until like yesterday, well, not yesterday, it was a few days ago, within the past few days. But then the past like 3 to 6 days, my concept of anything is whatever. Anyway, it was the Anana Ishtar. I think Anana descended into the underworld. She had her journey. She was stripped of a lot of things. She gained even more. And when she arose again, she arose with the name Ishtar. Like her name changed because she changed on a significant enough level. I guess, like, when folks get married, sometimes they change their names then too. I'm like hiding behind the text box. And then it was the feeling of like the 8 gates of Babylon, but it was the 8th gate. And there's something about, and again, I don't remember if it was in the breakdown or in the reading of the gate, but from my interpretation of the breakdown, or how I was sort of like envisioning it in my mind, was that like as this new self came online, or as this new element of the self came forward, it would like rebalance these other versions of the self. So there would be like a new equilibrium within the self. But each aspect of the self would be made more because of whatever new thing, right? At the same time. Why not? Oh, yeah, because the Six of Cups is here around the Magician. So we have the Six of Cups, which was the Six of Essences. When we saw it, they were like split across different realms or sectors or parts of our life or whatever. And the Five of Souls is here again. So I was like, that's the energy it originally came out with. And the Lovers is there. The Lover is here on the table somewhere. Oh, the Lover is here on the other side of Dreamland. with the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so this gives it an entirely new context that I love. I mean, not really. It's still related to what it was before, but now, the context is there. I love that the Two of Swords is here. I feel like the Two of Swords being out is like cheering me on. Like, you can get it. You're going to have to think and bring so much of your experience to the table. But it's like the information is there. Sometimes we got to do a little recall. Interesting. I guess in essence, they're the same. So I was thinking recall as in like to recollect, right? To recall a memory. But then my brain went like a product recall. And essentially they're the same. A product recall would be a factory or whoever calling the product back to them from the shelves, from the home of the consumer, from wherever. Us doing a recall is to call a memory from the depths of wherever memories are stored to the forefront of our awareness. Mercury is direct in Pisces. So yeah. Anyway, the Six of Cups, especially with the Lovers and the Scholar of Souls here, rather than the Initiate of Souls. We saw an Initiate before. I don't remember if it was the Initiate of Souls. It might have been. But because the Scholar is here, the Scholar sits in the place of the Knight. But essentially, the Scholar is someone who has done a certain amount of like theoretical learning or learning the fundamentals, the foundations, the principles, and they're in like their internship era or they're in their application era. Now they are like out in the real world applying all of their knowledge, honing it, refining it, seeing how it applies in the real world, building off of it. Also, I guess there's a part where you see sort of like what you assume in the idealized cases of education, right? Because there isn't necessarily a way to um, teach every single permutation of what could happen or what could go wrong, right? And it's not even wrong. It's just like what could happen. Every scenario, case, and instance, right? So you learn the basics and then you go out into the world and you adapt, right? So the scholar has learned some, is in the process of applying, refining that learning and learning more. You could say it's an apprentice. So like an Eight of Pentacles type of energy, apprenticeship. But anyway, the Scholar of Souls is here. And I feel like with this Six of Cups, a balance has been like attained or achieved. And now someone sits in the space of the Initiate of Essences, right? So in the subtle, in the imaginal, in the immaterial, in the solar realms, it's like they've done enough learning. The soul precedes a lot of things. You could say many things, you could say all things. But it's like essences is how we are and who we are and the different parts of ourselves that we bring to whatever circumstance or situation, right? You could be an amazing baker, a phenomenal baker, the world's best baker that there has ever been and will ever be. But you're not necessarily going to take that baking whatever with you when you go to the bank to do whatever. You could, right? So basically, like the soul is the entire library of who we are, but the essence is the elements that we bring to whatever situation. Terrible metaphor. I could think of a better one, but I got like 9 minutes. So, anyway, and that's like this initiate of essences. That's this Page of Cups energy. The 6 disparate essences have reconverged on the one that is this magician. who holds the candle that we see in the world, and the world was like not too far off. She has two. Oh, there you go. When I held it like that, you couldn't even see them, or you couldn't see one of them. But there you go. She has two. The magician is holding one. And this page of cups is like beginning to be. And what I love about this energy is it's like it is meant to be embodied. Like, at least that's how I want to say it. Because of the dreamland and the lover, and it's around the ace of pentacles. The ace of pentacles is like the most like who we are in our day to day, right? On earth, incarnate physically. It's the dreamland and the lover. Something of the heavens manifesting on earth between masculine and feminine elements of the self. Right. So now this ace of cups, with the ace of with cups being the element of it is of like spirit and beyond what connects us all, love and stuff like that. Now this two of pentacles energy is like, excuse me, the process of learning this embodiment, you could say. It's balancing who we know ourselves to be deeply, internally, and intimately with the challenges of modern living. Or not even modern, just living in period. The you know what I mean? The challenge of like not being the only creature or creation in all of the universe. There are others. And we have to navigate that. We can choose not to, right? Anyway. But because the Ace of Cups precedes the Ace of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles and the Nine of Wands, this is something that is perfected through practice and experience. And the more practiced and experienced we are at living our authentic self, the easier it will be to more like permanently embody that. This could be the spiritual self and the like egoic self, right? The flesh and the spirit, these two. Right. So it's like this idealized version of you and this like real life version of you. All versions of you coexisting within one. So then like you, if you resonate for this with this, if you resonate with this, would effectively be like this angel. Because you would exist as like equal parts the man and spirit. And then we come down to this Fool and Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is pre-sun energy. And if it's because the sunflowers, right? And the sun card, the sunflowers are there getting their nutrients from the sun. And the Queen of Wands, that sunflower is there getting it. It's from her. Her light literally has the power to grow new life or whatever. And this is like nothing more than what the Queen of Wands came down with. What I like about the Fool being here, or what I like about the energy of like the Fool has all those tools in the rucksack, is like this isn't, take it if it resonates as it resonates. This is how it's coming through. I'm not coming for anybody. But like this isn't a class, of course, a seminar. This isn't an apprenticeship or whatever ship under some guru. This isn't. This is literally like what this person came down with, what you were born with, what is inside of you, what has been inside of you this whole time. There is nothing externally sourced that is absolutely necessary for this process to succeed. Not saying it's not helpful, not saying it's not useful, not saying it's not beneficial, not saying that it's not necessary for some people, but whoever's resonating with this, as the magician on the table here, whatever like you came down with is everything you need to be the sun for the sunflower. There's also, because the black cat there, acceptance of the self in a lot of ways. But we've already seen that because the man, it's higher self, lower self, shadow, dark light, it's all in balance with the lover. That's why they can sit in this. And that's why they can like embody that energy so comfortably and sustainably. Why it's not like this huge taxing process. And again, I'm just reading the cards, not coming for anybody. We all got a process, right? We live, we grow, we evolve, we change. Sometimes we don't. But it's all in balance. That's why it can be so easily and sustainably sustained, right? It's not this embodiment that's like impossible or so hard or so draining or whatever. Again, that part of it would be more in the Two of Pentacles and the Nine of Wands around this Ace of Cups. By the time it moves to the Ace of Pentacles, at least that part is sustained. And maybe that's why we're sitting at the ace, not the ace, the scholar of souls here, because that part can be sustained. It's almost like when we go in and out of this embodiment, there are certain things that don't, certain things that only can be learned or experienced as we are embodying whatever, right? Because it's almost like those are the only times we would witness the effects, the reverberations, the consequences to the actions that we take and the decisions that we make in those empowered embodied states, right? It's like if you're doing some kind of experiment and you're experimenting with like some kind of compound, you can only get effective results or conclusions from your experiment with that compound. So if the supply of that compound is extremely like low, it could be rare, it can be difficult to transport, whatever, you're going to have a limited number of like experiments with it. It's like that kind of energy. Like when you go in and out and in and out and in and out, and if you can't sustain it to effectively extract the results of that research, of that experiment, or whatever, it's almost like it's lost, right? Or it's like, if you become some kind of healthcare or whatever, or whoever in training, right? If you want to get your driver's license, at least in the States, you have to do a certain number of supervised hours under someone else. So not only do you have to practice, but it has to be supervised and logged. So these are like supervised hours until you become certified to practice on your own or whatever. Then you realize that pretty much like after you make it to that point, that you've only ever needed what you've had with you this whole time. So before you make it to that point, again, it could be extremely beneficial. It can feel absolutely necessary to have external sources, resources, whatever, to help you get to whatever point. But it reads like after you make it, you realize that you've never needed anything outside of you. And then, last but not least, again with the Ace of Swords, it's death and the Knight of Pentacles. It doesn't matter how slowly something is growing. It's like there is life, there is progress, there is movement and momentum, instead of like this energy of death, which is like decaying, right? Cool. So I feel like this was just like a combination of the amalgam of the last like two videos, basically 2 to 3. The Five of Cups and the Hierophant is interesting because they're both 5, right? 5, 5. But then we have the Page of Swords and the Star, which is interesting because like I don't know, the Star is giving me like clarity, and the Page of Swords is giving like that. The curiosity of the Page of Swords is reading like some kind of clarity, because the curiosity of the Page of Swords is not attached to patterns, right? And then the Empress and the Page of Pentacles is under those two. I can definitely see the Page of Pentacles being like this minor um, Empress. This would be like the first thing that the Empress ever grows, or the first thing that the Empress ever receives or manifests, or whatever. And then that's her in her full glory. And then under that, we have the Page of Wands and the Knight of Wands, with the Seven of Swords and the High Priestess under that. Mostly this page here. Oh, look, there's the Scholar of Souls, Knight of Wands. Page of Pentacles, or Page of Wands, Page of Pentacles, Page of Swords, and the Page of Cups is already here on the table. What I love about this is, again, it feels like practical. The pages are like out in the world doing whatever with their perspective element. They're not the king or the queen that is holed up in a castle. They're also not the knight. You know, not that it necessarily matters, but they're pages, so they're new to something, and we're always, if we're living, learning, growing, we're going to be new to something, right? And again, in the story, in the movie, in the metaphor, the high priestess, the prophecy, the prophetess, whoever, it's like you have to, a lot of times the hero was like built or created through experiences that they go through. And again, there are all kinds of foes, friends, allies, whatever, schemes, challenges, puzzles on the hero's journey. But ultimately, it's like who they are at their core, it's what they're born with, it's what they stand for that molds them, not molds them. That is the clay that those external experiences mold into who they ultimately become. What I'm also noticing. Oh, first of all, didn't even see that the fool does like also have a flower, the little white rose, and she's got like the whole sunflower. Um, this is, it's like hooking things up to another grid. There's one grid that's going to collapse. It has been prophesied, it has been foretold, it is going down. There is nothing that can save it. There is a lot that humanity and their hubris and desperation can think that they're going to do, but something will fall, something will fail. This magician, it's like this dreamland is another grid, right? And so first, it's like the magician connects themselves, gets themselves a stable, reliable connection to this other grid, right? And then they start to build out that grid, build out the infrastructure. And then they spend time like connecting things to that grid. Because it's like this one flower, like the Queen of Wands. It's almost like flower by flower by flower, the Queen of Wands becomes the sun for all these flowers because the sun is going to go out, right? The sun is not this infinite resource that will always be. At some point, the reaction is going to stop because all of the fuel has been used or whatever. She's getting all these flowers on this other grid. So that by the time the original grid goes dark or shuts down or whatever, all of these flowers, they're already on this new grid over here. And that's why they continue to thrive or they continue to grow while everything else is in a state of decay. Right? Cool. And then Pisces is there because Pisces is the 12th house. Maybe it's because Pisces is the most interconnected, supposedly. Pisces is the most interconnected of the zodiac, right? So, and again, this is the dreamland with the little fishies. Pisces is the dreamer. So it's like this energy gets stuff on another grid. So that when the original one goes down, shuts down, whatever, there are things that are already on an alternate power source. Right? Cool. Sure, I gotta go. I gotta start making dinner because that is a thing that I do now. I cook now. Uh, and it's not that I didn't cook before, but if I'm being honest, I didn't cook before. And it's so funny because oh, with all this time off, I want to learn how to cook. I want to do this. I want to do that. Live my cute like culinary fantasy. Never did it until at the end of last year. I started doing it, and until this year, I'm like, and if I'm being kind of honest, it's overrated. Like I'm just so slow. Yeah, my feet be hurting because it takes me so long, and I'm an active cooker who was seeking tips to be like less of an active cooker. I would love to just like the I guess oven stove. The stove here is like an induction stove and it has a timer. So if you got something that just needs to simmer, put it on, set the timer. When the timer goes off, it stops. I love that. I love being able to just sit on the couch while the food is just simmering or cooking or whatever. All this like having to be up and watch it and stirring. Anyway, I'm appreciative. I said I wanted to do it. The universe brought me ample opportunity to do so. Do I regret ever making the statement out loud that I wanted to whatever? No. Because my friend is fancy. I was like, oh my gosh, I can just sit on the couch while the eggs are boiling, while the rice is cooking, and it just turns itself off, you know? Interesting that we've seen so much of the sun this whole time, but the moon, the Queen of Swords, and the Three of Cups is here. The bottom of the deck is the Eight of Cups. Um, I do kind of want to roll this one more time as I shut this down. I'm cooking all kinds of stuff I never thought I'd cook. I didn't think I had it in me. Oh, I gotta run them all. 1 second. Jupiter in the Ten of Essences, Strength, the Empress, Pisces again, throat, crown, throat, third eye, water, and earth. The Ten of Essences is the Ten of Cups that we did see earlier. Jupiter and the Ten of Cups, love that. Expanding. I feel like Jupiter and the Ten of Cups, like expanding that Ten of Cups, happy family, whatever energy, is the Queen of Wands that is building her garden. So that when the sun goes cold, her garden will continue to thrive. And the Empress is there. And Strength is there. What I like about Strength and the Empress is I feel like sometimes as I am reading cards, I feel like I probably too much interject the human element or try to be considerate of the human element. I think sometimes if cards come out and we're reading them or if we're just watching a reading, it can be really easy to get swept up in the then of the reading. And I guess it also depends on the reading, right? And the reader, obviously. Um, but sometimes it's like we'll see an emperor or an empress or whatever, we'll see wish fulfillment or whatever. But like being an emperor or an empress requires something. Excuse me. To have your wishes fulfilled requires something. And so to see like strength or the nine of wands or the 10 of wands or whatever that gives context to that, I think, I don't know, it's just not nice necessarily. But I like that strength is here with the Empress because in all of this, and the Queen of Wands and the embodied, like even after the lover angel is there as the bridge, as the full embodiment of someone in both their physical and spiritual states, not just one, but in both, firmly in both. And again, that kind of plays in the Empress that came out last time, where it was like instead of switching from one to the other, or instead of using both in this way that the process is always on, the Empress got to a level of allowing the process to always be on, but also at the same time accounting for the things that need to happen in the off cycles. Because if you don't account for the off cycles, something ain't gonna go right. Queen of Swords, King of Pennies. But yeah, so with strength in the Empress, I just feel like it speaks to the amount of strength or what it takes for that Queen of Wands to be the sun for the flowers in her garden, right? I think in general, I feel like I don't know her personally, but the Queen of Wands seems like the kind of gal, the kind of person that is so naturally themselves and so confident and so just like whatever that people assume that like she doesn't have to like do anything internally, right? It's like maybe people assume that she's never insecure or she's never had a flaw or she always knows like what she's doing or whatever, right? Because she is that girl, she's the Queen of Wands. But it's like, she's still human like anybody else. Hot girls have problems too. They're just like you, but they're hot, right? Hot girls, we have problems too. We're just like you, but we're hot. Sorry. Friday. Friday, my friend was like, sing the Friday song. And I was like, I am not singing Friday. But then I played it on Spotify. Anyway, yeah, so it does still require strength for the Empress to be the Empress. And, sometimes as the Empress, you have to make hard choices and decisions. Don't ask me what they are. I can't necessarily elucidate for you like the Empress would be able to elucidate for you. But when you get to that point, if this resonates for you, you may already be at that point, or when you get to that point, you'll know. Right? And then the throat and the crown, the throat and the third eye. It's interesting. The throat almost stands as this portal. As this, it's interesting. The throat sits as this common ground between the crown and third eye, but the throat initiates both. Right. So it's not like crown, throat, throat, third eye. It's throat, crown, throat, third eye, or throat, crown, throat, third eye. We actually saw the throat in the bottom position before, I think with the solar plexus, because I felt it as a kind of like parroting or mimicking, right? So that was someone who was seeking the proper environment so that what they mimic or what they parrot affirms what they want it to affirm. Right. And again, we are who we are and we are where we are in our journeys. Sometimes it can be extremely difficult to be the only person who is trying to champion some kind of positive change or who is trying to take a more active role in life and not just be like steamrolled by their circumstances, right? And so if you need an environment that is also whatever, completely understandable. Ooh. Bottom of the deck is a Ten of Swords. Three cards just came out. We have the Three of Pentacles in reverse, the Nine of Pentacles, the Three of Pentacles in reverse, the Nine of Wands in reverse, and the Six of Swords in reverse. 3, 9, 6, Wands, Pentacles, Swords, all in reverse. Um, oh yeah, to be rather than seem to be. So water and earth is it's feeling like to be rather than seem to be, right? So like instead of uh, to be rather than seem to be. The throat and the third eye with the throat and the crown. There's something, I feel like my mom says it, and it's like on the tip of my tongue. It's to call things to be. It's something that's like to call things as you wish them to be, like to speak as you would wish for something to be, rather than like what it is. It's something like that. So it's almost like it's to perceive the world in a certain kind of way. But it almost, because the throat is here both times, I can't get away from it almost feeling like double talking. But it's almost like speaking in code, I guess. Excuse me. But it is speaking in code, but it's not. It's like if something is happening and you say one thing on a certain level, it's like you are directly addressing whatever is happening. But at the same time, you're also like speaking to something that is happening up here. And if someone didn't know better, they would only hear this conversation. They wouldn't hear the one that's happening like up here. So it's almost like speaking to two different audiences simultaneously. And the people who know will hear, they'll be able to read in between the lines. There you go. Some people will be able to read in between the lines to get another understanding on top of the base layer of whatever. So it's able to speak to multiple audiences, to multiple levels of something at the same time. And wherever the audience is determines almost the message that they get. But here, it's almost like it's almost taking me back to like the sun, the devil, and the wheel of fortune, where like it's not who or what you think it would be, because because it's like it almost speaks so cleanly, plainly and directly to something more base that you wouldn't think, Two of Cups, you wouldn't think that it is addressing anything like otherwise. But it is actually causing things to move. Okay. All right. Oof. Oof, 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 oof. May whatever gods and goddesses of the culinary arts be on my side today. Let's hope this food is ready, because if it's not, I'm gonna hear about it. Knight of Swords came out in reverse. The Two of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck. This is an... See, there is something very tricky about this. Because it's like, on one hand, you would think that it's going in the opposite direction. Or you would think like it is like working against its own cause. Or you would think whatever. But in reality, like, it isn't. And it's not the, what do magicians call it? What's the art? The art of misdirection. It reads as the art of misdirection, but it feels like it is entirely dependent upon the audience. Right? It's like someone does something, like someone says something. I can't think of an example right now. Someone says something and they start to do something, and the audience or whoever else interprets it as one thing, but they actually end up like, by the end result is actually different. And the person is like, whoa, like, I thought you said you were going to do whatever. And I was like, oh, like, I said I was going to go to the mall, but I never said that I was going like shopping or whatever. Right. Like, I went to the mall to do this other thing. And you're like, what? Like, why didn't you tell me you were doing this other thing? Like, I thought you were going shopping. It's like, yeah, you thought I was going shopping because I said I was going to the mall, but I never told you I was going shopping. I didn't tell you why I was going to the mall, and you didn't ask. Type of energy, you know? And it's not, it is extremely intentional. The energy of this is extremely intentional. But at the same time, it almost falls on the audience to not clarify or to not check their own assumptions. Under the Two of Pentacles is the moon. It is extremely intentional. But just because it's intentional doesn't necessarily mean, at least to me, it's not feeling necessarily bad, but maybe it doesn't feel bad because of what the end result is, right? And again, like, we all make our own choices and decisions. We can be influenced by our environment, but for the choices and decisions that we make, we are responsible, right? And so, ooh, the Queen of Pennies. Okay, I'm gonna turn this up right because I'm getting confused putting these cards away. See, she's giving me like a court jester type energy, like someone who pretends to be dumb, but they're not actually. Again, like, extremely intentional. Like, they knew that it reminds me, I've had a few classes, probably one or two, where I feel like I can think of one in particular. I had this one professor who, when he would write multiple choice exams, he would give partial credit for he would give partial credit, right? And he would do things like, if you read he would do like one of the answers would be something that people would actually guess, right? So it would be something. And I was kind of thinking about this earlier, maybe yesterday. I think today, maybe yesterday. I was on a walk to the nearest Waitrose, and I had time to think. But I was thinking about the Seven of Pentacles, the Tower, and the Empress when it came out last time. And it was like, if you learn more complicated things, sometimes in the midst of doing complicated things, we can forget like the simple things because our brain is already on like 10. Excuse me. But in the case of like, we're not addressing something with the complexity that we are trying to oversimplify something, and that's why it's not working. We are trying to regress in our own learning or whatever back to when we knew less or we had less, whatever. And it's like, that's not going to work because you know what you know. Anyway, I'm already losing it. The train of thought has derailed. It didn't derail. It's still on the track, but it's gone. That train is gone. I got 3 minutes. Oh my gosh. What was it? Where was I? I don't remember. I feel like it was between the throat and the crown. It was the level of complexity. It is intentional. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, it feels intentional. It felt intentional before I saw the moon card under the Two of Pentacles. But again, it's us making those assumptions. It's us not asking clarifying questions. It's us following like these low hanging fruits. Anyway, that's it. I feel like I really had something to say, but it's fine. And I'm not going to sit here and try to think of it. I am going to like roll these one more time. Not necessarily to interpret it. Maybe you can like pause this and come up with, see what it says to you. How's it going to be like nothing? It says nothing. Everything is blank. Ooh, Sagittarius, Cancer, the crown and the heart. We actually saw the crown in that same position. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Kirsty and Brian, for stopping by. I hope you all have an amazing whatever. Whenever you see this, I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path journey and what you find. And I'm not going to remember. It's fine. May, thank you. Thank you. For the sake of peace, I hope the same thing.